This is Brian, ScreenFiles.com and review. And what I'm looking at today is 2023's Leave the World Behind, directed by Sam Esmail. And this is a gorgeous movie to look at. I bet it cost a lot of money because it looks incredible. It has great stars like Ethan Hawke, Julia Roberts, Mahershala Ali, and Myha'la Harrow. So it has a lot going for it. The problem is, it's not really about anything, in a sense that revolves around the Sanfords, played by Ethan Hawke and Julia Roberts, and they get an Airbnb. So they arrive, and Mahershala Ali, who plays G.H. Scott, returns with his daughter, Ruth. And Mahershala Ali's character gives Ethan Hawke's character a refund on the rental, since they're going to be there for a night. And the reason that Mahershala Ali's character, who I'm going to call G.H., his name is G.H. Scott in the movie. The reason G.H. and Ruth returned to the house was because they couldn't get to New York and some weird things have begun to happen. So at this point, the movie primarily revolves around these two couples and how they're dealing with each other. Julia Roberts as Amanda Sanford is probably one of the most interesting characters in the movie, along with Myha'la Harrow, because Amanda just doesn't like people, so she comes off very suspicious towards G.H. and Ruth. For no real reason. Keep in mind, it's their house. That they're breaking a contract, sure, I get that, but it's their house. And as I mentioned, he gave them a partial refund of what they paid to rent it. So she seems really upset about it. But as I said, she's actually interesting because she feels something. And that's the same thing with Ruth. She doesn't get along well with Amanda. Amanda and Ruth bounce off each other quite a bit. And that's interesting because nothing really happens in this movie. There are signs that, if not the end of the world, something very close is happening. But the movie doesn't tell you what it is. At one point, there are pamphlets released by a drone in Arabic. In another point, talking to a neighbor, played by Kevin Bacon, he tells them that a friend of his had seen similar pamphlets, but written in Korean. So, all you know is that something terrible is happening, and it's not restricted to this group of people. It's happening all over. And in fact, you see an oil tanker beach itself earlier in the movie, as well as a plane, an airliner, crash as well. So there's a lot of chaos, and there's a lot of theories as to why the chaos is happening. But the movie is very unsatisfying in that it doesn't tell you, the viewer, why anything is happening. So you're left to imagine what could be going on. It is, as I said, a beautifully produced movie, but it's not about anything, not really. There's an air of chaos in the way things proceed, but once again, the movie isn't really about that either. It's not about this family. One group is white, the other is black. It's not about the chaos that's going on. It's about something though, and it's, as I said, unsatisfying to watch. Gorgeous, well acted, but ultimately unsatisfying. Though, what Leave the World Behind most reminds me of is M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin. Though, at the end of the day, I more agree with how M. Night Shyamalan was interpreting the end of the world. And that might be happening in Leave the World Behind, by the way. We just aren't given enough information to tell. Though, at least with M. Night Shyamalan's movie, he had an idea and he followed through with it. Sure, I didn't think the idea was particularly good, but at least he followed through with it. Sam Esmail has an idea, a whole bunch of things into it, and it ends up not really about anything. By the way, it's worth mentioning that Sam Esmail is the guy who created Mr. Robot that was on USA, I want to say 5 or 10 years ago. That was a very acclaimed series. This is a bit of a mess. And it's a mess that manages to hide it being a mess because it's so well produced. It is such a gorgeous movie to look at, and it has such a high caliber actor. But it's about nothing, really. It's very perplexing. It's almost as if the screenplay were half written. And I assume that Leave the World Behind is based upon a book I would like to read, because it has to be more satisfying than this movie. Though what do you think? This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know down below. And as usual, consider a like or a follow. Peace.